Fun morning we've had so far. Started with my car not starting, which for you automobile fiends out there, you guys know that's not good. Luckily, for the past 10 Christmases on average, I received one portable car starter from my grandfather. So, took one of those suckers out after rummaging through my trunk to find it. Blew some dust off of it, hooked it up. Shit worked like a charm. However, it did take me quite a while. So, let's see. I'm debating whether I want to go to the gym now that it's almost 7 o'clock, or should I go practice. I have class at 10:30. Theoretically, I could go crush some legs between my practice session and my first class, which might be what we do. Because if I went now, why don't I just go now? I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's a convenient time between the reason I don't go now is because I want to have a break between my practices. So I wouldn't be able to take a break between two practice sessions if I went now before my first class. So I have class 10:30 to 11:30. And then another class at like 11:50 to like 12:40. And then I have another class from 1 to 3. And then I donate plasma at 3:50. So depending on how that goes, that might be over at like 5. At 5, what I can do, even though you probably should not work out after donating plasma. Probably wouldn't recommend that. But what I'm thinking is, after plasma, I donate, or I go to the gym, and then after that, I have to go to another rehearsal from like 7 to 9:15, 9:40, I guess. It's actually longer than I remember. This is all if my boss is okay with me not coming in to work, because he wants to go to like his brother's basketball game, and he's scheduled to work today, and he asked me if I could work, and I said, I could maybe work like 4 to 6:30, although I shouldn't do that because that low-key plasma is going to pay me more. But I also wanted to be able to go see his brother's soccer or basketball game. Holy mother of traffic. Oh my gosh. But regardless, we're going to get legs in today. How exactly that's going to happen, uncertain. It is up in the air. If I have to go after my rehearsal tonight, I will. But we are hitting the legs because, by gosh darn, if my New Year's resolution isn't to not skip legs, we're gonna skip. We're not. we're gonna skip legs. No, we're not skipping legs. So, we have a conundrum. However, there's always a way to work around a busy schedule. But it's never convenient. But anyway, what I was going to talk about today, before all this stuff happened, I was going to talk about a couple like dieting hacks that you can add to your routine that might make it a little bit easier to shed off some unwanted fat, but still maintain like fullness. Like, you don't want to be starving the whole time you're on a diet. If you are starving while you're on a diet, there's just a couple things that you can probably change to make that not the case. Let's talk about, obviously you want to be looking for foods that are not calorically dense and high volume. So think about like a Twinkie, all right? It's about this big. It's probably got 400,000 calories, and you eat it, and approximately 5 seconds later, you're hungry again, right? So that's not going to be super efficient if you're trying to lose weight. Although there was a guy, I think, who only ate Twinkies for who knows how long and lost weight. There's about one of those guys for every food. And all they're doing is proving the same thing, that if you eat less calories than you burn, you're going to lose weight. So we want to be thinking of foods where you can eat this much of it and not eat too many calories. So obviously you're going to be thinking of your vegetables. You're going to be thinking of not necessarily fruits. You got to be kind of careful. It's really easy to be like, oh, I just had a bunch of fruits today, I didn't consume that many calories. You're probably not going to go terribly wrong with fruits, but they're going to have a little bit more like sugar than vegetables will. Like, my go-to snack food is like carrots, because you can eat so many carrots and it's not going to be that many calories. Broccoli, cauliflower. There's a reason why people will make rice out of cauliflower, and so those kind of foods are going to be the ones that you're going to want to target, because they're going to keep you full. They're high in fiber, and fiber is going to keep you pretty full. And they're not going to put any weight on you, because there's not as many calories. What do you think about like things like oil? All right, like olive oil, like certain like vegetable oils. Certain oils are going to be high calorie. So if you're at the store and you're looking to make, let's say you're going to make chicken breast. You're like, you know what? My weight loss journey starts now. Chicken rice. All right. And then you go to make the chicken, and then as your like non-stick pan spray, you smother the thing in oil. Well, there's quite a few calories in oil. So you might not want to do that. Especially, again, because, you can chug oil and gain a bunch of weight, because, it's not going to fill you up at all, So what that means is you got to kind of find alternatives. So if you are looking at two oils, like you have the cheapo 0-calorie non-stick spray, which is what I use, well, I wouldn't say cheapo. Trust me, there's expensive non-stick. But let's take like Pam. Pretty sure Pam is 0 calories. You spray it on the pan, you put the chicken on, and it's sliding around. It's greased up for good, That's going to work so much better for weight loss than oil. And it's not that tricky to add that, Let's say you're about to make some toast in the morning. All right. We all know I can't believe it's not butter, right? So butter is pretty high in like fat. So it's going to be pretty calorically dense. If you're going to make bread in the morning, like toast, let's say toast is your favorite thing, and you just put it in the toaster, it pops up, and you put butter on it, and then you chow down. So my recommendation would simply be look for a alternative to the real butter, which to me, spray butter, some people I guess maybe hate it. I've never really met anybody who hates spray butter, but I'm sure they exist. I'm 100% certain they exist. But that's going to be a low calorie option. Boom. Like, if you do a couple of these things, one, your food isn't going to taste any different. Oh, it's going to taste maybe a little different, but it's going to taste about the same. You're going to be eating just as much. You're just going to be consuming less calories, right? So the worst thing you can do on a diet is tell yourself, well, I can't eat these things. I can't eat sweets. I'm giving up sugar for the whole year. Oh yeah, you are. No, that's never gonna happen. You can't just give up an entire like food group, for the sake of a diet. Like if you're trying to lose weight, if it's something that you eat very consistently, and then you're like, well, now I don't want it anymore. Well, it's gonna be very easy to fall back and say, oh, but I've been so good on my diet, I'll just start eating it again, But here's the thing. This whole time you could have been eating it. If you want a Twinkie, my gosh darn, have a Twinkie, but understand that now we've got less room for other things in the day, because we've been talking about calories. If you're eating 2,000 calories and that's going to lose you a pound a week, well, shoot, you can do that in Twinkies. You're just going to feel awful. You're going to be starving. You're going to be losing muscle. And you're just going to probably feel lethargic and tired. So you can have a Twinkie, but you just kind of have to flip-flop it throughout the day and say, well, I had a Twinkie, so now I have to stick to, vegetables and, high protein options, so that way I don't consume anything else that's going to be super high, like fat or crazy high carb, because those are typically going to have more calories. Now, in terms of carbs, I hear this all the time. All right, I'm cutting out carbs. I'm not allowed to eat any carbs. Bro, how are you gonna function? Like, I understand grabbing a couple low carb options. There's low carb, like keto bread, that's pretty popular as an alternative for some of the higher calorie bread. But you still have to get in your carbs at some point, because you're just gonna feel terrible. Here come all the people who are on the keto diet saying, well, I have no carbs and I feel great. Well, okay, that's great for you. I'm very happy for you. But for the average person, the person who's gonna go to the gym and like grind out a bunch of volume and push themselves like crazy, carbs might do you pretty good because they're going to give you energy. I've known people who have tried low carb diets, and the first thing that happens is they stop all forms of movement because they just feel so tired, and then they give up on the diet completely because they're just so tired. Like, oh, I can't do the diet because it made me so tired. Well, you couldn't do the diet because there were no carbs, and then that made you tired. All you have to do is add carbs to the diet, still manage to be in a calorie deficit. It's all a giant puzzle. There's not exactly a right way to do it. You'll never find somebody who's just got it all figured out to a T. If you were to like say, let's say you have somebody like a fitness influencer that you like, and you're sitting there and they have a diet plan or something that they're promoting, and so you go online and you click on their diet plan, and it just gives you a list of everything you have to eat. If you were, I've never really seen anybody do that, but let's say that was the case. If you were to follow that diet plan to a T, it may work wonders. It may make you heavier. It depends on the person. You may hate it because it's none of the foods that you like. You have to kind of pick and choose the things that are going to work for you, but you just have to understand why they will work or why they won't. I don't really think a lot of super ultra processed foods are going to work super well in most people's weight loss diets. And that's just because they're calorically dense. That's just a fact. Not that you can't have any of them. I had my mother sent me a package. It was like the Christmas gifts that I got for Christmas, and she shipped them to Arizona for me, which was really nice. But inside was a package of Nerd Gummy clusters. Now, I had like 5 of them. Had 5 of them, and I was like, all right, I got my sweet treat in for the day. But now I'm cut off. That's good enough for me, you know. I'll have some more later. I don't need to have the entire bag, you know. So, dieting isn't about complete, you know, complete restriction. It's not about just giving up all your favorite foods. I think I lost the most weight I ever lost. I think I was eating a burger every day. But here's how I did it. I got super lean meat, so like 95% lean ground beef. I would put it into a patty. I would weigh that patty, and then I would put it between 2 pieces of like lower calorie bread, and I would use like 50 calorie cheese and no sugar ketchup, you know, and the whole thing was like 300 calories, meaning I could have probably eaten like 10 of those suckers a day. Not 10. I'm not that big. I would say I could have eaten like 7 of those suckers a day and still lost weight. But let's say I were to make a normal burger, I use like, you know, 85% lean, so it's more calories. I use like a giant bun. I don't weigh out my food. I use a higher calorie cheese. I use sugar-filled ketchup. You know, it's like, well, the problem with that is all of a sudden that 300 calorie burger turns into like a 700 or 800 calorie burger. So instead of being able to eat like 7 of them a day, which I didn't actually do that, but just in theory, you could only eat like 3 of them, you know? And granted, you know, maybe one of them tastes a little bit better, but it's not that much better. It's good enough, you know? It's enough to say like, I'm still allowed to eat burgers, you know? It might not be like your favorite fast food burger, but you can still have one and lose weight. So instead of thinking, all right, I'm about to start this diet, I have to sacrifice everything. Well, you don't. In fact, a little insight into my dieting hack here as well is like, I'll get a pint of Halo Top ice cream, which is like 290 calories for the entire pint. Huh? That's wild. Okay? That's all. Like a normal pint of ice cream is what, 1,100 calories or something stupid? So if you want ice cream, go get some Halo Top ice cream. It's super good. It's not crazy expensive, you know? And what I do is I'll have a pint, and I can't eat an entire pint of ice cream in one sitting. Or at least I could. I choose not to, because I want it to last, and I don't have a bunch of money to spend on ice cream. We're not there yet. But I get that, and then I get a low-fat whipped cream, which is like 5 calories per tablespoon or something, which still isn't great, but it's a lower calorie option. If I really want something sweet, I get some Halo Top ice cream. I put some low-fat, low-calorie whipped cream on it. Dude, I cannot tell you the difference. I do know people who say they can like taste artificial sweeteners and stuff like that. I'm not one of those guys. Dude, maybe I've just had one too many Diet Cokes, but I don't taste the difference. I get to have my dessert for probably 150 calories, I'm guessing, depending on how much I'm eating of each. And I keep losing weight. And I'm not super hungry. And it works out. So, all right. There's just ways. There's ways about, if you Google your favorite food and you Google anabolic recipe, stuff's gonna pop up. There's gonna be ways that you can make it less calories, and there's probably gonna be multiple options. So if you don't like one way, you can always try it a different way. That's just the reality of it. There's so many different ways to avoid calories that you can find ways. There's also ways that I know I might have mentioned this earlier, that you can do you can do appetite suppressant. You can achieve some appetite suppression through other means. So let's say I talked about it with caffeine. Protein's the same way. Like if you want to be really satiated, have some protein, have some fiber, and caffeine works. I know I've heard like pepper extracts, like maybe like chili pepper extract, is also like a thermogenic. It's going to keep you full and going to keep you from eating a bunch of excess calories if you struggle with that. I have never really tried it though, so I don't know. But regardless, don't give up on your diet because you can't eat the foods that you want. You can eat the foods that you want. You just got to tweak them a little bit, And, it's perfectly fine every now and then to have a day where you eat your maintenance calories, Not that big of a deal. I mean, and sure, you could go over your calories too. I just wouldn't recommend that because then you just got to diet for an extra day, essentially. But if you eat your maintenance calories, then you hop on your deficit the next day, and you're back on track. It really doesn't matter that much. Especially, it's gonna be much easier when you enjoy the foods that you're eating. Again, like I don't think I could survive if I was told you can't eat cheeseburgers. What? Then I'll be fat. Thanks. Like I will gain weight. I don't care. Because like the way I look at it, whether I'm overweight at a higher body fat percentage or I'm lower weight, I will never look in the mirror and be like upset. The reason being because I know how to fix it if I want to. If I want to be leaner, I know how to do that. If I look in the mirror and I'm shredded to the bone and I'm like, well, I kind of want to put on some more weight now, I know how to do that. It's in a way, like I'm trying to think of the opposite word of restriction. It's like, freedom. Dude, it's freedom. When you understand how things work, you don't ever want to be trapped with the lack of knowledge of how this stuff works, because that's when you're going to look in the mirror and be like, I don't know what to do. I feel restricted in my lifestyle because I don't know how to change the way I look. I'm kind of on the side that, you need to love yourself no matter what. There's a lot of people out there, especially in the fitness community, who are very anti people being heavy. But then they are all about, bulking. It's like, I get the point of bulking. Don't get me wrong. I understand you're just trying to put on muscle and that you're going to lean down later. But I think the issue isn't I don't think we should be on the internet telling people you should lose weight. I think it's not the worst idea for health reasons. I think there is just studies saying that if you are overweight, that you are going to be higher risk for certain, cardiovascular disease. But you should never look in the mirror and be upset with yourself because it's not helpful. You're not going to, looking at yourself and being upset isn't ever going to be helpful. Looking at yourself and saying, I know what to do this. Let's make a plan on how to change, whether that's to lose weight or gain weight, or stay the same. If you look at yourself and you're not shredded to the bone, you're not super muscular, but you don't care about any of that stuff. Oh my gosh, my southern twang's coming out. Howdy, partner. If you don't want to change at all, well then you also know how to do that. This skill is for everyone. Everybody should know how to do this, I think, especially in America where we have such a big problem of misunderstandings on how nutrition works. So, holy shit, 24 minutes on this video. I'm sorry. The sun's come up. But chances are if I'm in the gym later today, it's going to be not shorter workout, but not as much video because I'll be recording in a bigger gym with lots more people. It'll probably be around 5 o'clock, I assume, unless I can fit it in somehow today or this morning. Man, my Freudian slips when it comes to skipping leg day is crazy. But it's going to be probably not as much. I'll definitely record my squats. But, things like quad extension and hamstring curls, I don't really feel like people would care to watch that, to be honest. And it's not the most important thing for me to track. I was at 185 pounds for my quad extension. I know that. Like, I'm going to just up the weight. There you go. Hamstring curls. I went pretty hard last time, and I'm doing like a quad focus day today, so probably wouldn't go super crazy heavy with the hamstrings. I might record my RDLs today because one, I'll be at the squat rack already, and two, I'm still working on that form. So that's probably going to be it for me. Again, it's 7 o'clock right now. In the magic world of YouTube, you will now be, I now cast the "it's 5 o'clock now" spell. And maybe that's me leaving BioLife with a fucking bandage on my arm. And hopefully it's not bleeding everywhere. So have fun with that image. I will see you right now. Okay, we're back. And it's not either of the solutions I came up with. All right, here's what we're rolling with. Turns out my class that I was supposed to have at 11:45, I don't have it today. It's a chamber music class, and I guess we only rehearse once a week on Thursdays. So today, Tuesday, I was like, okay, so that gives me an hour-long window, but that's not a ton of time to, go to the gym, and I have to run back for my other class. So I was like, let's think realistically here. But Mom, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. But it's the first day of my 10:30 class. And she sends out an email. All right, we're going to be going over the syllabus today. All right. In ASU terms, what that means is everybody's going to go around. They're going to say their name. They're going to say their major, and they're going to say an interesting fact about themselves. Whoa. And since we're all musicians, we're all like, we play this instrument. That's about it. And then we're going to talk about the attendance policy. We're going to talk about the projects. But essentially, we're going to go over a form that I can just read. So rather than go to that class today and sit there, and not burn any calories, I'll go to that class from here on out, Scout's honor. However, I will not be going today to give myself enough time to hit legs. That way, I can practice again. I can donate plasma without having to worry about lifting after donating plasma. And it'll make life a lot simpler. And then with some of the extra time too, I can edit the videos because I'm kind of behind. It's Tuesday, January 13th, that this is being recorded. And it probably won't get posted for 2 days at the minimum. So, gonna try to catch up with that. But anyway, it's leg time. So we're gonna take our pre-workout and we're gonna hit a nasty leg day. Might get to record some more of it. Again, I'm still going to the busy gym, so I don't like setting up the tripod there a ton to record stuff. But we'll get the good stuff. The squat racks are kind of by themselves. And maybe since it's a school day, gym won't be super packed. So we'll see. We'll see you in the gym. How about that? God damn it. Hello. There we go. Already went through the warm-up sets. So we are only worried about some of these top sets. Right now I've got 335 on the bar. So we're gonna see how that moves. All right. Ooh. Damn. Feeling chilly today. Okay.
Interesting. That whole time, I had to burp so bad. Not sure if I'm gonna count that one. Might have to loosen up my belt, take off my sweatshirt. Because, whew, we have to pop. All right, it's gonna be a whole different set, I think. Alrighty, well, maybe not completely different. I was just looking and I felt something in my pocket. It's a wrench from this morning. A little something to fix the squat form. Guys, we just got banned from EOS. No! No, we didn't actually. A guy simply, politely came up to me and asked me not to record. And he was an employee, and I never will waste a breath arguing with an employee. It just simply is never worth it. Plus, it does not matter at all. We got a couple sets of squat. Basically, I did one more. Hit another 5 reps. So we hit 335 for 5 3 times, which, if you guys know anything about hypertrophy and rep ranges and whatnot, technically speaking, 5 reps will grow muscle. And we did go very hard, so I've got hope. However, great news. We upped our RDLs to 205, and it looks better. At least from what I could see in the mirror, although it always looks better than it does when I watch it on camera. But that's good. 205, we were hitting 8 to 10 reps, 10 towards the start, and then we were getting towards 8 near the end. And then we went over and we did quad extensions. And we did quad extensions. Holy shit. My top set, so I started off at like 195 because my quads were warm and I was like, let's just go straight there. Since I hit, I think 185 last week, 245 for 10 reps. What? 245 for 10 reps. Guys, we are on pace to do the stack by February. Like, I have no idea where that came from. It could be that I was hitting like lower rep ranges on the squat, so my legs were maybe a little fresher. But after that, we were cooked. I mean, I went so hard on quad extensions. And I guess I could be sitting here like, oh yeah, after my 335 squat, I went ahead and tried 500, and we did it for 4 reps. I could say that, but I'm not. I'm not going to. I could lie, but I don't want to because I'm going to be the one watching this back, and I don't want to remember it incorrectly and throw like the whole stack on for quad extensions and then be screwed. So instead, I'm going to tell the truth, which is that we went crazy on quad extensions. That is the truth. And then we went and we did hamstring curls. It was fine. It was okay. I think I got up to 205. I did that for 9. So, not bad. Still more than last week. And I don't expect my hamstrings to be cooking right now because I did it. My last leg day was a hamstring focused leg day. So we did a lot of volume for the hamstrings. And then we went over and I tried to do hack squats for another quad exercise. Got through 2 sets and I was like, I'm out of here, dude. This is insane. And we made good time. But yeah, no use trying to argue and say things. Oh, well, why can't I record blah, blah, blah. Well, they have a designated section. I guess it's called the record it room or something. But he was like, you can record in there. And he was very nice. And I was like, I'll just put it away because they have one platform in the like designated recording area. And there's people in there who aren't recording and are just working out anyway. So everything's taken. They also have the worst machines. Like they have, I don't know what, it's like a quad extension where you can do either both legs or one leg at a time. It's like weighted each side, but then your quad extension's going out like that. It's a horrible machine. And so those are the only ones they have in there. And I didn't want to use those. So I was just like, fuck it. Today's going to be a talking episode. We'll call it what do they call them? Bottle episodes or a bottle? What? You know what I'm talking about? Where a TV show, you know what I'm talking about? Yeehaw. Where the whole episode takes place in like one room because they're just low budget for that episode. It's kind of how this is. But yeah, and other than that, it was a great leg day. And honestly, I'm just happy that we got to hit it and that we didn't skip it today. New Year's resolutions, they're flowing. Now let's see if I can edit some of these videos. I have a little bit of time before my next thing, so we should be able to. And then, geez, I feel like something else happened. I have no idea. Oh yeah, here's something that happened. I think I mentioned that my mother sent me a package with a bunch of stuff from Christmas time. I don't know why. Oh yeah, I was talking about the Nerd Gummy clusters. Well, also in that box was a lot of gym clothes that they got me for Christmas, which I'm wearing currently. And it feels so nice to have more than like 4 outfits. If you guys haven't picked up the trend yet. But anyway, I think that's going to be it for today. I have shit to do. So hopefully this video gets posted within the next 5 years and everybody gets to watch it. Don't remember what the topic was today. Oh, it was like dieting tips. Cool. Use that as you will. Not that anybody ever comments on these videos, and this is gonna be like an hour-long video or something. And there was like 2 minutes worth of working out. Hour-long video. Nobody comments on these videos anyway, but if there was a topic that somebody wanted to talk about, I'd be down for it. Be kind of cool to have somebody say like, hey, talk about better bench press form, and I'd be like, you got me. But that's gonna be it for today. I gotta stop yapping. I gotta start grinding. Toodles. Wait, I remember what I wanted to say. Don't stop the video yet. After I was told not to record, what did I do? I put in my headphones and your boy listened to the last movement of Organ Symphony, the Chicago Symphony recording, about 6 times. And it got better every single time. I promise you, please, for once, at least one time in your whole life, I want you to work out, especially legs, dude. Find the last movement of Organ Symphony, the Chicago Symphony recording. Actually, any recording will do. As long as the organ is cranking, it's great. And listen to that shit during one of your leg days, and I promise you, the best pump ever. That's how I did the quad extension. That's a duh. I remember I was sitting there, eyes closed, just like probably about ready to burst. But then brass chords, ba da da dum, ya. Oh, dude. Anyway, what the hell? Toodles 2.0.